Hey ho, hey, I'm talking to you. You there in the stressful relationship. You're the one I'm talking to. I have good news. So if you're in a relationship with somebody who is continually pushing your buttons, somebody who is being inconsiderate, somebody who is not having empathy, somebody who is taking you for granted, somebody who does absolutely outrageous things and then blames you when you have an emotional reaction to that, if you're stuck in one of these dynamics where it seems like you can't get your needs met, but also like you can't figure out how to untangle yourself from this person, and you wouldn't even really want to untangle yourself from this person. You love this person, right? You just want to make the relationship work. You just want to make it good. If you could just get through to them the things that are really important to you, if they just changed a few little things about how they were operating, everything else would be bearable. There's just some stuff that's just way beyond what anybody should put up with, even though occasionally you doubt your own sanity and you think maybe I'm being too oversensitive here. But your friends tell you, no, that's not okay. You read advice columns and there's other people talking about similar stuff, and the therapists are saying, no, that's not normal and you shouldn't tolerate that. If you kind of have a sense that some of this stuff that's going on is over the top, that you really need to somehow have boundaries or somehow communicate to this person, somehow change the dynamic, I'm talking to you. I've got something for you. So I know what it's like. I've had one of these relationships. I had a relationship where I remember vividly at the moment when I really started to wonder what the relationship was doing and whether it was healthy, because I've been out with a group of friends and my partner was putting me down in front of all of the people at this dinner, like again and again and again, and just making me feel like this high. I was almost on the verge of tears. And we all finished the dinner. We got up to walk down outside to like look at the stars. And he puts his arm around me. And I could feel like all of that upset just kind of falling away and going, oh, it's all right. He really does love me after all. And there was this little bit of my brain going, what is going on here? Like, he was just abysmal for like an hour and a half. You were miserable. And what has he done? He put his arm across your shoulders. How can that 3 seconds of an arm across your shoulders possibly outweigh an hour and a half of humiliation in front of a group of people? But somehow it did. And I remember thinking at the time, this is not right. This shouldn't be happening like that. I shouldn't just let all of this go like that. What he did at dinner was not okay. But I never actually raised it with him. I was so relieved that he was being nice to me now that I didn't want to go back to the time when he wasn't being nice to me and remind him of it in case he just started being horrible again. And I know that if you're in this kind of relationship, you've had these kind of experiences as well. So here's the thing that made the difference for me between the time of having that relationship. Oh, and by the way, it only ended because he dumped me. I reckon if he hadn't dumped me, I'd still be in that relationship. Years, decades later, I just never would have left because I was basically hooked. It was like an addiction. I was hooked. He could be horrible to me for a long time. As long as he was nice to me a little bit, I was all willing to stay. I'm just so thankful that he found some other woman more attractive and decided to go and pursue her and dump me instead, because that set me free. And it wasn't until years later that I figured out what had been going on there and how it was that I had got so tangled up, and how it is that people can untangle themselves from these situations. So back when I was lecturing in psychology at the University of Sydney, all of this stuff was not well understood. It wasn't in the curriculum. It wasn't something we taught. Even the relationship skills, it was a little bit in kind of pop psychology stuff, and there was a bunch of stuff from the 60s about I'm okay, you're okay, and things like that. But there was no real understanding of how trauma and attachment styles and things like that work. So there was no real understanding of the dynamics of the trauma bond between people. But that was what was going on with me and this guy. And that's most likely what is going on if you find yourself in a relationship where you're thinking, I can't live like this, but you're also thinking, I can't live without this person. That is just the epitome of a trauma bond. If you haven't heard of trauma bond before, go Google it. It will blow your mind. So as I went forward, I started to understand how these dynamics work. I started to see them playing out in the workplace as well, because I was working as a business consultant and executive coach. And I started seeing these dysfunctional dynamics happening between bosses and employees and between co-workers, and the same kind of thing of one person being really outrageously over the top, crossing boundaries, and the other people feeling like they had to go along with it and feeling like they couldn't leave. So I really got interested in how this was all hanging together. It wasn't until I myself hit burnout that I was forced to learn this stuff for myself. And once I'd learned it for myself, obviously I could pass it on to my clients and my friends, and it made a difference to everybody. So here I am telling you, I'm now willing to pass it on to you. So just to keep it short, because I know I've already been talking for a while, but I've personally supported at this stage hundreds of people to either change the dynamics within their relationship or to leave and find a better relationship. And in the process of doing that, I have developed a course that contains the essential steps to prepare yourself, to strengthen yourself, and to then either tackle the other person or walk away. So the program, which I call Emotional Mastery, is actually a program that's 3/4 about you and only 1/4 about how you interact with the other person. And the reason why it's that way around is because you need to be the strongest you can be. You need to have your inner workings working really smoothly if you're going to be able to hold firm in the face of whatever somebody else is doing. If somebody's doing outrageous things, you need to be super strong yourself internally to be able to stay firm in the face of that. And that takes a bit of training and preparation. So in the Emotional Mastery program, we will start with emotional regulation skills. And this is such a life changer. Because one of the things that goes on when you're in this kind of relationship is the person who's doing the inconsiderate or outrageous things, they count on the fact that you get upset, that you get so upset that you can't think straight, or you use extreme language like always and never. And then they can jump on you for being irrational and being emotional. So emotional regulation skills, not only will they give you peace of mind in the moment, not only will they enable you to feel much more comfortable with your own painful emotions, but they will also allow you to remain calm in the face of quite extreme provocation. And once you can remain calm while the provocation is happening, then you can use all your other skills to navigate the situation. The second thing we'll teach you is how to release what has built up from however long you've been enduring this treatment in the past. Whether it's a year, 5 years, or 20 years, there's a backlog there which will color all of your present day interactions. So it's really important that you can get rid of that past backlog so that you can clearly see what's happening today, and you can respond appropriately to what's happening today without it being colored by anything that might have happened in the past. Then we move on to identifying patterns. And this is where you will get your whole edge in this whole environment, how to see how patterns play out. Once you can figure out what the pattern is, you can change your side of it. You can break your end of the pattern. You can do things differently on your side. And then the other person cannot continue to play the same pattern, the same game in the same way if you're not playing your end. This is gold. But again, this is your inner work. You're working on yourself to not take the bait. You're working on yourself to be calm in situations where you would previously have got upset. You're working on yourself to actually be okay with things and to focus on the things that are important to you and let a lot of other things slide. You're working on yourself to be at peace, being alone, and managing your own life in your own way, the way you want to. You're working on yourself on a number of levels in here. Ultimately, the hidden gold in this program, what you may not have even known that you've been looking for, is a direct connection with your authentic self. And part of what happens when we have a trauma bond, when we're in one of these very emotionally demanding relationships, is there's just no time and no space for us. There is no time to explore Who am I in the world? What do I want to do? Everything is crisis management, survival, coping, dealing with this person, dealing with the chaos they have created, trying to insulate the other people around from this person, all of that stuff. That fills everything. And there's just no space. There's no space for you to be you. So in this program, you get that space. You get the tools to be calm enough, to be together enough, and then you get the space to go, okay, who am I really? And what is it that I want in this situation? What am I actually willing to put up with here? And what am I not willing to put up with? And finally, we have a section on communication skills, which once you've made your decisions about what you are and are not willing to tolerate, gives you the tools to have clear conversations with another person, to help another person to deal with their emotional reactions to things, to not be affected too much by those emotional reactions yourself. That is a superpower right there. If you can say something to this other person and then be unmoved by whatever emotions they then have, that gives you a lot of confidence, a lot of strength, and a lot of peace of mind. So if you think that this program may help you, and I should say that we can't do this overnight. This is a program. You have to practice these skills. So it's going to last 6 months or so, this program. So if you're ready to invest 6 months in turning your life around and making it actually become your life, whether you stay with this person or not, to be able to craft your life so it's actually yours, to give yourself space and peace of mind and freedom to do what you want to do in this world. If you're ready for that, then I have a very special offer for you at the moment. I don't usually do this, but for the next couple of weeks, I will be personally taking calls from people who know that this is for them, that this is the moment that they are in their life, but they just have a couple of questions or a bit of an emotional wobble. They just need to talk to someone for a few minutes. I will take your call. So have a look below, beside, above, wherever around this video somewhere, there'll be a link that you can link and book yourself into my calendar. This is a very short window. I am not going to do this for very long. So you're very lucky that you've seen this video in this window. Book an appointment, have a chat, and I will get you through to the other side.